Hello YouTube, Ryan here from the Reptile Guys, and today we're going over the hottest topic yet, the Holy Freaking Thursday Massacre.
Lawmakers. Another snake at that warehouse says those officers then made a snake mistake. 7's Nicole Ensalada is live where this happened. She's in Sunrise. Nicole.
Well, Belkis, yeah, you're right. FWC came here last week to destroy more than 30 invasive pythons. They were in cages just like these. In fact, they were in some of these, but there was one snake who was right here. It was a pet. And you can imagine what accidentally happened. It was caught on video, and we should warn you, the video and the audio that goes with the video can be disturbing. It's the sound the owner of these snakes could not bear to hear, so he left the room. You're hearing a penetrating bolt gun used to kill pythons with a shot to the head.
I really didn't know what to expect.
Chris Coffey is a partner in a Broward reptile breeding company, and after a long legal battle with Florida Fish and Wildlife, he agreed last week for officers to visit his facility.
So I basically had to do whatever they said. I was just wanted to comply and move on.
Knowing that his pythons, now considered illegal, would likely be euthanized, he said he made very clear there was one snake they could not touch, a boa constrictor named Big Shirl, legal in Florida and owned by his business partner.
I showed them the label, what it says here. Both officers that were here at the time came and looked at them and agreed with me, yes, it's a boa constrictor. They would not harm the boa constrictor.
But watch, the officers pull the boa out of the cage and... But just seconds later, Coffey's cell phone video shows shock on the officers' faces as they realize they shot the boa, a pregnant boa that Coffey says was still moving. They tell Coffey what happened. He'd been in a back office.
Oh my God, that guy's gonna flip out. What is wrong with you guys?
Yeah.
You did it. Why?
They tell him it was a mistake.
How? I reminded you 10 times.
He had called me at 4 o'clock crying and screaming, saying that they killed my snake.
Owner Bill McAdams says the snake and her babies were worth thousands of dollars, and he's had her for years.
It was heart-wrenching. I mean, it was just as heart-wrenching watching Chris's snakes get killed too as well. And I just can't believe that's the only way they can go about doing this. But that's one snake that had a name because she was special.
It's just tremendously sad. And those babies, they're born alive. Boas don't lay eggs like a lot of other snakes. They bear live young. So those were pretty much fully formed babies.
This from an FWC spokeswoman who did not address the loss of the boa directly, but said Coffey formally relinquished his reptiles to FWC and requested that FWC officers and investigators euthanize the reptiles. The FWC Division of Law Enforcement is determining the full details. So right now, he says that he did not want them to euthanize all of these snakes, but he said he knew he was in a hard place because of the illegality of the snakes in Florida, and as he's working through all of the issues with FWC and his permit. But he says the boa constrictor, he says he would have thought for sure that these officers would have known the difference, especially with the label on that, and after being told. So now he, as well as the owner of the snake, are still waiting to hear from FWC to see what might happen next. Reporting live in Sunrise, Nicole Ensalada, 7 News.
Alrighty guys, today is the day I break the silence of this Holy Freaking Thursday Massacre. It was a hard one to build up the stomach, the courage to feel myself talking about and telling you guys the story of, because it's upsetting and it's disgusting, it's inhumane, it's saddening. So with that said, let's move on. All right, well, I got Jasper out because he's going to be a great representative of this topic. He is a boa constrictor, so he's kind of relevant, right? I will get to the footage of this encounter. I'm not going to include everything, but I'm going to include what I feel is enough to drive home my point. And that simply is that these individuals whom committed this act you're inhuman. If these guys see this video, I hope they know that I wouldn't piss on you if you're burning on the street. You have no right to kill someone's animals. You have no right to kill a mosquito in someone's house if they want it there. You have no right. This is America, the freest country, and people are being subject to watching their pets be sheep bolted in the brain in the name of conservation, as if this guy's responsible single-handedly for every invasive python in the Everglades. I've been to the Everglades. I went last year. I was actually looking for invasive snakes and other invasive reptiles. I happened not to find any. I only found an alligator, which is actually native. I didn't see any pythons. So it's kind of weird that it's such a pressing issue that they're killing people's pets over. And I haven't seen a single freaking python in the Everglades when I went. And I'm an actual reptile enthusiast. I have some background in biology, but the point I'm making is I would be able to find a snake if it was out there. So I find it a little odd how I didn't. Furthermore, it was in Hurricane Andrew, Hurricane Katrina, that we heard large numbers of invasive pythons, Burmese retics, rock pythons, all being released unintentionally by a hurricane, blowing the entire building structure that they were housed in away. The snakes survived. They crawled away into the mud. So if you can somehow just toss that into the dumpster, I guess people can convince themselves that these issues were caused by people and not by natural disasters. So therefore they want to punish people for it. It's crazy. It's like, it's the same thing as, we used to live by a standard, and that was innocent until proven guilty. It's the opposite now. We live in Fruity Land. If you're presumed guilty, you're guilty until proven innocent, pretty much. And that's how it works. That's how the law works. That's how Democrats work. So if I had to say anything to maybe solve this problem, long story short, vote red ties. DeSantis actually came out on the side of the reptile keepers for this issue in particular. So it's further proving my point that it's really one party in establishment right now that absolutely is decimating nature, decimating the natural environment. No regard for life, human life, the concept at all. So let's get off topic a little bit here, and I'm going to bring it back around. So I'm pretty sure we all know about the oil crisis. We have a guy in office, Brandon, that is buying oil in large quantities from communist countries, of which drill for oil and lithium, other, crazy potent material for the atmosphere. And the drilling of these resources causes factories to plume these great towers of smoke into the sky, which is causing global warming. So when you have an entire party pretending to care about global warming, And then they ban normal cars in America as if that's going to do anything, just to make electric cars be manufactured, which are worse than oil as far as emissions. That lithium that they have to get for those giant batteries in electric cars is way more egregious to the environment and unforgiving than combustion. Just a little bit of education for y'all. But yeah, no, it's as simple as him banning these fracking sites in America, the most ethically clean way of getting oil, attaining oil, to go buy it from the unethical factories of South America, of which burn down the Amazon forest for these drill sites. That's not a good look. Sorry, Brandon. Come on, man. Yeah. So if you need to know who to vote for to, get some laws passed and legislation to protect our animals, if there's one party, red ties, guys. Red ties. Now, let's put that down for a second. Animal rights and conservation is fundamentally a right of property, to put that simply. I have a relationship with this animal. He is a friend of mine. He is a pet companion, if you will. And he is definitely not just some piece of capital, even though I will be breeding him and making money. He has intrinsic value, though. Just like a dog is $1,000, a snake is too. And they can reproduce, meaning they're intrinsically valuable. It's a life. It's my property, though, as much as I'm trying to avoid saying that. So you don't have the right to come to my house and kill it. Anyone, ever. I don't care if you have a badge. If you come to my place with a gun, I'm pretty sure we have amendments and like insurrection shit that we could totally take to you guys. But we're not, because we're all sane and we're just trying to make it and trying to be friends. Positive direction, people. We're not trying to start next civil war, but that's what it's coming to because they're killing our pets. I mean, they're silencing us. They're taking away our freedom of speech. So if that wasn't a red flag enough, I mean, look at what YouTube's been doing and all the silencing and the other mainstream media platforms. Look at Tucker Carlson and Fox News. Like, wow. So we're losing that right. Right to property too? Let's just keep them coming, guys. Oh, you just want to mark them off one by one off the Constitution? All right. Well, I guess it's going to get tricky once we get to the 14th and the 15th Amendments, huh? What is property? I'm sorry. I don't care if you're from the FWC. I don't care if you've gone through years and years of military training. I don't care what kind of authority you are. I don't care who you are. You don't have the right to kill my animals. I grew up with these kids that lived across the street from me. They would just go and kill little animals. And he would tell me, this one kid, I'll leave him nameless. He would tell me he just wanted to see him die. He thought that was fun. He got kicks out of it. I was looking at him like, you're a freaking psychopath. You belong in prison. You want to know what's interesting about that same kid? About 10 years later, guess where he ended up? Yeah, prison, manslaughter. I'm sorry, walks like a duck, talks like a duck. You got a duck. These cops, they're not cops. They're plebs that wanted to kill animals and get attention for it. That's why they're okay being on film. That's why they were okay with this entire thing in the first place. They want attention for it. I feel like there's a lot of people out there who don't really care how they get attention. They just want the attention. Good luck with that. That'll work out in life for you. I really hope that these guys have faced some sort of consequence because if left in vain, that's just diabolical. The Holy Thursday Massacre. Every step of the way, they just effed up. They conned that man, conned him into surrendering those animals. And then they fully lied to the public about the circumstances of which led to that slaughter. They said the man asked officers to humanely euthanize the animals. Nope, never. I saw video footage of it. They say that they didn't kill anything other than what was banned from the state. So I guess that's how this whole thing got controversial, is they killed the wrong snake among 30 others. They killed a boa constrictor. Now they get all wide-eyed about it, and they're all looking at each other like the Three Stooges. Like, ooh, that wasn't good. Keep going. It was staged. It seems so faked. It seems like they were making an example of this guy and his facility and his business partner, and they were trying to make a public spectacle of the whole incident. And I'm sorry. That's not going unnoticed. We're doing stuff about that. So, yeah. When it comes to conservation and animal protection and animal rights, they fall under the same laws and rights as property rights. So, now I guess we have to start swinging. Democrats, you're royally screwed here. That was a mess up. And funny how it was in Florida, of all places. Funny how their own governor came out against you on it. So, property rights, freedom of speech. If we lose those, we're not a we anymore. I'm serious about that. Once they start announcing that freedom of speech is abolished, or your rights to own your own property, not have it taken from you, like, that's the entire premise of theft. I'm blanking on the name, but there was a piece of legislation that was pushed through Congress a year ago, as soon as Biden got in office, and it prohibits people from transporting exotic animals across state borders. That is fundamentally stripping Americans of a right. Big deal. Biden got us that. I wonder who got us where we are now. If I had to guess, it's not Donald Trump. The dude is not even in office. He hasn't done zippy zap. And guess what? If he was, we wouldn't have any of this shit. We wouldn't have anyone trying to strip other Americans of their rights for their own financial gain. Just wake up. Wake up. Democrats hate Earth. They want to destroy it. They want to burn the rainforest. They want to buy communist oil, furthering all of these notions. They lie to you, saying they have good intentions, and then they go and stab you right in the back as soon as you turn and look. You're being played for a fool. We all are. It's time to stand up. It's time to say something. Before it's too late. Before they come to our homes and start sheep bolting our pets. Can you imagine if this was dogs and not snakes? Don't you see where this can lead? If a dog bites another human, the dog's put down. Doesn't matter. You lose all your rights to that, thanks to this. And think about it. If a dog bites another dog, do we do anything? No? But if a snake escapes in the wild and eats anything, All the snakes are dead. You see where this goes? This is a snowball effect, people. This is where disasters start. Stop the snowball now before it's a boulder. We still have the ability to put our foot down. We have the right to fight still. We should start fighting before they take away that right too. It's bigger than just the Florida Everglades. It's bigger than the environment. It's bigger than you or I. It is fundamentally, it's our freedom. It's our freedom in the only free country left. The only free country ever. You know, America was founded on the premise of avoiding taxation from the King of England. And now we are more taxed here in America ever than we have been in England by any king. How did we get there? How are we voting for people that aren't even American? How are we allowing bureaucrats, unelected government officials to pass laws and legislation that are affecting our daily lives, and we don't even have a say on it? This is our moment. This is Red Dawn. The commies are taking over and they're killing our snakes. Snakes are such a vital and important part of nature. They're not disposable. They're not evil. They're the opposite. The amount of love people have for these ugly, retarded, mutilated, inbred chihuahuas and dog breeds that are unfunctional, even being completely cared for by people. We've mutated and bred monsters, little monsters, out of dogs and canines. And yet with snakes, these things play a vital role in the ecosystem, controlling rodent populations and controlling bird populations. Did you know that the number one cause of death by animal in the world is by malaria? A virus. A virus carried on and passed on by mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are preyed upon by fish and small aquatic life because mosquitoes start as an aquatic stage. These predators of the juvenile mosquitoes are dragonflies, dragonfly larvae in particular. Dragonflies and dragonfly larvae are predated on by birds. Birds are predated on, at least their juveniles and their offspring, by snakes. So the snakes controlling the bird population controls the bug population, controls the mosquito population, controls the malaria population, controlling how many people are dying of malaria. Now, people go around everywhere in the world killing snakes for sport. They just run them over with their cars. They see them on the road because they warm up and they just squish them for the hell of it. They do it because it's fun. People hate snakes. They kill them because they hate them. They're causing populations of other animals and organisms like mosquitoes to skyrocket because the entire food chain is out of balance because for some retarded reason people are deciding to kill snakes for the hell of it. And then you think I'm making this up? Look at the rodent populations of New York City. How many sewer rats are there? Billions. There's no snakes. Nothing eats the rats. They eat each other. How can we be so blind as to disrupt the entire balance of Mother Earth on emissions, on wildlife, on humanity? It's willful blindness, willful ignorance that leads to these things. It's time for us to wake up. It's time to act. It's time to say enough. If we vote these people out of power, whom let these legislations get passed, whom allow their blind eye to neglect reading what the actual law is saying, how these politicians whom actually want to destroy the environment just for a penny it's like they need to be cut out, like cancer. Enough is enough. You're not going to take away my right to speak. You're not going to take away my right to own pets. You can try, but I will hurt you so much worse. Because we have the numbers. I have the righteousness on my side. And I have understanding. And I hope that I was able to bestow some of that understanding on to anyone listening, because it's those who don't understand, those who want to be right against all voices of reason, those who are stubbornly, willfully blind, and then those who are active psychopaths and enjoy seeing the demise and death of animals, innocent animals. I'm sorry. You think a snake deserves to die because it's a predator? Cats are predators. You know, rats are predators. I don't care how fluffy it is. I don't care how cute you think it is. Your interpretations of an animal do not reflect its life. You can't just kill animals. You can't. Especially if they're someone's pet, especially if they're owned, especially if they're not, for a purpose of like food or to protect other life. It's just completely aimless, premiseless, grievous, crude, cruel abomination. And it has to stop. It has to, because flying the "don't tread on me" flag ain't enough. If we don't stop now and do something now, it will get worse. I'm already watching it in real life time. So I guess I'll conclude with that. For those of you who want to try and voice your thoughts as well, I ask you do so in a respectful manner of reptile keepers, because at the end of the day, it's reptile keepers and animal lovers who are the victims here. They're the casualties. Just try to put yourself in their shoes if you aren't a reptile lover. To have your pet, your dog or your cat, your own child even, ripped from your arms and then brutally killed. It's a crime against humanity. It's a crime against nature, God, whatever you want to call it. Wrong. And I'm judge, jury, and executioner on this one. I'm sorry. My mind has been made up, and I've done some research too. It's disgusting how there's media groups and the FWC trying to cover their tracks by saying, oh, this guy relinquished the animals to us, when he didn't. He was forced to by threat of criminal prosecution. And then on top of that, he was made out to be like part of the problem. Like he was the one releasing pythons in the Everglades, when that is not the case. I'm sorry. The methods they're taking to solve these problems in Florida are brainless and inexcusable. I'm calling for reparations. It's unfair that I had to bear witness to this. It's unfair that I had to see this in my lifetime and be disgusted by it. And I think it's unfair for all of you whom feel the same. And yeah, we're going to stop them, because this ain't happening to us. And it's never going to happen again if we have anything to say for it. With that said, I think I'm going to wrap this video up. Jasper seems like he's getting a little tired of it here. I think that overall, should wash itself out. It seems like we have a lot of support for reptile keepers, and it's blowing up on mainstream media in our favor. So that's why I didn't want to start bashing on anyone, who may have or may have not been to blame for bad or misrepresentation of the issue. Overall, I hope that by, us being more conscientious of whom is in power and whom is voting these laws and legislation into fruition, I hope by some means we can start to wake up and attack the problem like that. Voting is truly the only thing that we have left, and that power is going to be how we save our animals and nature. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for, supporting. If you don't support, I hope that you now do. So, make sure to like, sub, and share if you care. Jasper and I will see you all in the next one and on the flip side, which should be a more positive one in the next video, but had to get this one out. So, till then.